Hello, everybody. My name is Sonia Lang. I'm the co-president of the Rolando Park Community. Can you all hear us now? Yes, all right.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the treasury report.
Yes, we're going to start over on that one. So thank you. As you know, I'm temporary the treasurer because our treasurer stepped down at the end of the year. So as of today, from January 1st, we have 18 members who've renewed their membership. 16 renewals and 2 new members. So our total for the year, our revenue is $216 from dues, $55.25 in donations. So our revenue so far this year, mid-February, is $271.25. Okay.
Well, thank you, Lynn. All right, so we're first gonna go to community announcements. We'll start with Jennifer. You're here, right, Jennifer? Yeah, there you are.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. Redwood Village. We had a casual cleanup on January 14th with about five people showed up. Thank you, Bettina, for coming out. And we met on the corner of Boren and Romo. That's what it was. And we kind of we met there. It was great. We had a casual discussion and then we dispersed and went to Streamview and to Darnall Charter School. So it was nice to just have a casual get together on a Sunday morning. And our next one is Sunday, March 3rd, and location is to be decided. We're kind of leaning towards the monument sign on Rock and College. So stay tuned for that. And if you are not on the Redwood Village email, please put your email in the chat and I will add you to the Redwood Village specific email group so that you will get those emails from me. Thank you so much. And one more thing, shout out to Lynn. Congratulations for your award, Volunteer of the Year. Woo, woo, let's give it up. Give it up for Lynn, D9. Good job.
Thank you,
You're
Jennifer.
the best. We love
I
you.
was trying to fly a little low.
I know
You
you're
ruined my
sinking out
cover
of the
for
Zoom
me.
window. Come on,
Thank you.
back up.
Thanks very much.
All right. Well,
Congratulations.
thank you, Jennifer. So we're gonna move on to Lynn, our award winner. For community announcements for Rolando Park.
Right. No. Why can't and one more time. You know what? It's not sharing.
Stop share.
No.
Yeah, you want to stop sharing and then try to share.
You can't hear? Okay. I stopped.
Mhm.
Share.
Your screen and there's your.
Oh, there it is.
There's your
Yeah.
slide. Mhm.
Oh, glasses fix.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, everyone. So, as I said last month, I show this slide every month until these positions are filled. The good news is, someone stepped up, to be treasurer, Debbie Blake, if you could wave your hand. Everyone knows Debbie. She's been on the board several times. So, we will talk about that later because we will have an election, this week to formally elect Debbie, and then I can turn over all my fabulous banking skills to her. So we do still have other positions that are open. We still need a secretary, and of course, we can always have members at large to lead a project or anything that specifically you're interested in that makes our community better. So feel free to volunteer and be a member at large. Tomorrow night, the Eastern Area Communities Planning Committee has a meeting. And the reason I'm mentioning this is I will be talking about what's going on at the planning group almost every month now, myself or Jennifer or John. We are talking tomorrow night about these water and sewer main replacements. It's going to be starting in Redwood Village in May and Rolando Park in the summer months. And the reason I mention this, and you'll want to maybe think about attending, is because I'm going to show you these two pictures. This is roughly about 50% of Redwood Village that are going to have water replacements starting in May, June timeframe. It will take about 18 months to complete. And the good news for Mr. Eric Weber, if he's on tonight, is that you will get your street resurfaced when this is done. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to be 2025. So I'm sorry, but it will get done here. And then that's Redwood Village, different city engineer folks, different graphics. This is Rolando Park, and this is actually going to be north of Celia Vista. This will be Loma Alta, Vista Grande, being all those little streets there. And then over on Jeff Street and along College Avenue, they are getting just water main replacements. That project starts this summer, and this one will be about a 2-year project. So again, the streets will be resurfaced when it's done. But what it means for our community is that we're going to have lots of disruption for the next couple of years on the streets. We're probably going to see different cut through traffic than we see now, because the only street I see on here that isn't going to be impacted by this is Aragon, which is already the major cut through street in Rolando Park.
Too bad they couldn't coordinate the power lines going underground at the same time.
Yeah, that's about 10 years out,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So anyway, last month I mentioned that we are in the middle. We've just started the Mid-City Community Plan update. It launched in December. This is the first update in this area in 25 years. So for the next 6 months, they're going to be collecting input from everyone who lives in the Mid-City. We are the Mid-City. We're part of the Eastern Area Communities, Normal Heights, City Heights, and the Kensington-Talmadge area, the other 3 planning groups in the Mid-City. So they have a mailing list, which I'll drop in the chat if anyone's interested, because they are going to be having meetings starting in just another 10 days. February 26th, they're going to have community office hours. The closest location to us would be the College Rolando Library, February 26th from 4 to 6 p.m. And then again at the end of March from 12 to 2. You can walk in, but they do advise that you call ahead and get a time for yourself. You get a 15-minute slot just to talk with city planners about the update. They really would like to know what the community wants to see in this update. So let's give it to them. And they will also this Saturday have a booth at the Multicultural Festival of Love in City Heights. From 11 to 5, they'll have a booth set up there. So if you're down in that area or want to make a trip, feel free to drop in. It will be manned by the city planning department. Okay. Last is our schedule. These are 6 joint community cleanups that we're doing with Redwood Village. Our first one is going to be this Saturday from 8 to 9:30. We'll be meeting at Party House Liquor, our favorite place to meet up. We will always have donuts and coffee for all our volunteers. We usually clean the streets, do a little trimming, make sure the street's safe. And then we have 5 other cleanups coming after that. I know that in addition to the 6 joint cleanups we're doing here, we'll also be doing a cleanup in August for the joint use park to get ready for our movie in the park event. And if we can get enough volunteers in Little College between Billman and Jeff, we're going to try and do a cleanup on College Avenue between Billman and University Avenue. And we will try to get a dumpster for that one as well to give residents an opportunity to get rid of bulky items. I know some people on Jeff Street were also impacted by the flooding. So
That could be rain or shine this Saturday.
it's not supposed to rain till Sunday, Fox. I think we're off the hook. And I just want to mention 2 positives. So this one, Michelle and I have been talking with the YMCA for over a year now. And I want to give a big shout out to Joyce Cadillo. She put us in touch with the right people at the YMCA who were interested. We've had multiple conversations, and then Michelle has pretty much picked up the load here. But is it this week that started?
It started last week. It's
Last
second
week.
this week, yeah.
This is the first time this school has ever had an after-school sports program. So this is pretty cool for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We had only 20 spots and they were even able to expand to 28 because we had so much interest. So it's Wednesdays, which is the short day here. So it's nice for parents to let the kids have something to do after school and give us a little extra time in our day back. So it's great for everybody. It's a win-win.
Right. And just to finish up on a little bit more good news, a big shout out to Jennifer B. and her college students for bringing a little art and a little color to Rolando Park down at the University and Rolando intersection. Her students worked right in front of Party House and across the street. Some very nice, cool art. And then this is on the west side of Rolando, and then the one on the right is on the corner of Aragon and University. So sort of nice, pretty cool to see some art. It's better, as I said, than the cowboys on the horse, bronking horse. I really like these a lot better. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Miriam. All right, everybody. Next are our public comments on non-agenda items. We ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes. And I want to make an announcement. I wanted more people here for this announcement, but I just wanted to emphasize that as a nonprofit organization, we cannot support anything in regards to campaigning unless there's a forum. So I just wanted to ask that if there's any public comments that they go with non-campaigning sort of things going on. And I guess that's it. So first, anyone have any non-agenda comments? I see David. Ogu? David, can you hear me? You can, if you wanted to speak, you can unmute.
Sorry, I was just making dinner. And let's see. Yeah, I just want to let as Lynn knows, I go running a lot in the neighborhood, so I'm not Gladys Kravitz. I just go running a lot. And I've noticed that in case you all don't know about it, just bringing it to your attention. I've noticed that on Celia Vista, between, I guess it's 69th and Aragon, there's a lot of graffiti that's starting to pop up on people's signs. As a matter of fact, there's one house there's a couple houses that are in there on the south side of the street. No, actually it's the north side of the street, north side of Celia Vista. And they have a nice new fence that went up there, one of those acrylic things, those white ones. And somebody, just tagged it, and it looks horrible. And I don't know if those folks had called whoever you're supposed to call. and then across the street today, I noticed that there's a wooden fence that the same tagger, got. And I know, didn't no need to say is, as we were talking yesterday, as we we're watching the game, that, the neighborhood has gotten a lot nicer in the last 25 years that I've been here. And one of the worst things that you could do is to have graffiti popping up, even though it's not necessarily indicative of crime. So I just wanted to bring that up to y'all, so you know that it's going on.
I wanted to make a comment to that. If anybody out and about, if you can take a picture and submit it to get it done, more people that send it in, maybe the faster it can,
They'll take care of it.
it can get done.
I got tagged my fence on the canyon.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, so yeah, if anybody, happens, I'll try to remember I walk that way. So I'll try to remember to take a picture and submit it myself also. But as more people that submit it, hopefully the faster it gets done.
Audrey, how much?
Yeah. Any more public comment? I see Audrey.
Yeah, just to tag on to that, I was walking my dog yesterday at the Joint Use Park, and somebody tagged the cement bench by the play area there. And I took a picture of it and sent it to get it done already, but it just shocked me. It really just appalled me, really, that somebody would do that at this beautiful area. Anyway,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
so.
Thank you, Audrey.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else? One. Nope. All right, well, thank you, everybody. So we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. So we're going to start with the community reports, and we ask that you keep your reports to 4 minutes. We are going to start with Willow Lance. She was first.
Hi, my name is Willow. I work for the office of Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. Some updates from our office. The House is back in session. They're scheduled to vote on various bills. The Congresswoman voted last week to pass legislation that would help families make ends meet, boost housing that's affordable, spur innovation, improve economic competitiveness, and ultimately help 400,000 kids out of poverty by expanding the child tax credit. With the start of the new year and the second session, our office is asking constituents to share their top priorities for 2024. There's a survey that you can find out on our website, or I'm happy to send down and pass them along. In the district, the Congresswoman led the delegation in urging President Biden to approve a federal emergency declaration to help San Diego address the damage from last month's devastating flooding. After the flooding occurred, the Congresswoman was out in the district. She visited Rolando Village as well as Rolando Park, as well as various areas in Spring Valley and Lemon Grove to survey the damage and bring attention to FEMA. She also spoke with the FEMA Region 9 administrator to ask about the county assessment, to keep tabs on it and ask if there was any other things that our office need to be doing. The other thing I wanted to share with you all is that the Congressman attended the 6th annual Women of Color War Breakfast. This is a breakfast held to honor women of color in elected offices and inspire young women of color to seek careers in public service. And then my last thing is that if you ever need help with federal agency, let me know. I'm happy to help. This includes things like the VA, IRS, and that's all I got, unless you have questions.
Any questions from anyone online? Right. Well, thank you, Willow. Appreciate it. Right. So then we have Officer Josh.
Oh. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody here. We really appreciate everyone being here. A few things I'm working on, some big projects, 50th and El Cajon Boulevard. There's been a lot of crime there, a lot of prostitution. No, that's not directly in Rolando Park, but it's all related in the city area. We have mentioned an initiative there, but pretty much shutting that down. So it's been pretty successful so far. That's one of the big projects. The other one is Choice Creek. That's an ongoing project, of course, with the homelessness. Just so everyone's aware, especially because District 9 isn't here to report on it, but environmental services is super behind right now because of the flooding and all the stuff going on down in Southeast on up Jeff Street. So they are overwhelmed. The last I heard 2 weeks ago, they were behind by 200 pickups in mid-city. So it's the homeless encampments, just bear with us. It's gonna take a little bit of time. for them to get back caught up, and then NPD to get back involved when it comes to the encampments, and then environmental services to come out and take care of those issues. As far as the graffiti goes, I can say that that's largely contributed to the change in juvenile laws. That's been an issue for us for the past year, and since the laws have got drastically changed from the PD to violent crime amongst the juvenile. There's just, it's very hard to have consequences. And one of the aspects I can say, I know it's gonna get a little long-winded, but I did some work right across the way over here, at 58th and University. I think I told everyone about that whole ordeal, multiple felonies, multiple misdemeanors. Half of those were graffiti-related cases. And juvenile hall told me, sorry, he's too young, we can't take him. And one of those charges was, a robbery with a broken jaw of another child. So, along with the multiple graffiti cases. So again, with the graffiti, when there's no consequence, and there's no accountability, they're gonna do whatever almost they want to do, and that's the sad part. So it's good to be aware of that for all of you here, because it's important to know, when it comes, I'm not trying to campaign, but when it comes time to read bills and understand what you're getting into or voting for, that it's definitely a huge responsibility of the community. So please make sure we're paying attention to that stuff. So it helps us with the graffiti and the tagging and having some sort of consequence. I would also like to say for the Redwood Village side, we're standing up a neighborhood watch right now. It's more on the Dagridge area, but either way, Faircloth, and we're standing that up, and a guy by the name of Oliver Walker is starting that. We're working to get that all stood up. It's actually going well so far, and that's in addressing some homelessness issues that are happening behind that area on the hillside that directly affects this whole area because they have that encampment by the water tower. So we're working on that as well with neighborhood policing. And then lastly, we made some progress on Aragon as far as the cement mixer and the problematic house there. I've got a hold of the property management company and come to find out they're on the third and final notice as far as process beginning to start goes. So they were not happy to hear from me because they've been hearing from the neighborhood quite a bit. And so I think my phone call just kind of pushed them over the edge when it came to that. So anyway, any questions for me? Anything I can help address or any areas I need to be aware of?
I have a comment here from Jennifer and John saying, please keep them informed about the Redwood Village Neighborhood Watch.
Definitely,
Okay.
will do.
Thanks.
That's nice.
Anything else?
Mia has her hand up.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mia?
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm sorry, hold on.
I came over to my residence, I live there, up right above Eagles Parkway, and it's as bad as it's ever gotten down there right now. I can see that I can't. Watch vehicles pull up and transactions of some sort. Drive off and just the collection of stuff and again, understand that what's going on in the city as a whole and, emergency response and stuff, but I appreciate your efforts and attention to that. That's state of affairs currently.
Definitely. I recently just forwarded an email out to NPD, just, hey, keep your eyes on this, please send some resources down that way. NPD can do their thing, but as far as environmental service side, that's where we're gonna get hung up. And without getting rid of those encampments after they've been marked, it's just gonna continue to be repopulated. So it's really that work in tandem, and a lot relies on environmental services, and without them, it's just gonna take a little bit of time to catch up. But I hear you, I'm paying attention to it as well. Teen Challenge is not happy about all that going on there either, because it doesn't help their program, which is, not a good thing for them either. So, and the same with the storage place. I think that place is also set, to get relocated at some point soon, at some point in time, but not too far out. Either way, that doesn't work well for them either. So we're working on it. Choice Creek is definitely a thing. Once the construction starts, I think that's going to be the biggest change in dynamic there. For sure. Any other questions?
So Mia, you had something to say? You're muted, Mia.
so I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the last week, in addition to, tagging to this week, last week, somebody brought up about their car being hit by two kids that are on the bicycle. I guess that ties in with the juvenile problems, but I don't know if you heard about that, but there's at least 3 people that brought it up on Nextdoor.
Thank you for sharing that. I have not heard about that. I know there was a bicycle theft ring that's recently been kind of brought to accountability, we'll say, but I have not heard about that. Please, and I just want to reinforce this, report everything. I had a business recently that didn't report a burglary at the second burglary attempt to it. And I had to actually persuade him to like, hey, file the report. And the biggest thing is, it doesn't matter if you don't have evidence or whatever it is. Necessarily, you don't think we can catch them because it's been 4 hours. At the end of the day, there might be something that a nearby business or residence captures. And that little bit of surveillance footage relates to 2 other burglaries that may have happened. And that's how we solve cases. So please report anything that happens because you never know what will be recovered from that case or that incident. And that's, again, it's a force multiplier. It really helps. Even when you're like, there's no loss and it's not a big deal. It is a big deal and it shouldn't happen. And again, it's the bits and pieces that solve crimes. And if you don't ever report it, we can never get that information. And that may be the difference between a burglary series or robbery series being stopped or not being stopped.
Any other questions? Oh, I see, Mia.
Yeah, it's just, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
All right, well,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. All right. So, our next, representative will be, in place of Roberto
No,
Merritt.
Sam Gonzalez.
Where?
He's right there.
Oh, Sam, sorry. Sorry, Sam was next. I'm sorry, Sam Gonzalez.
Evening, everyone. I'll be brief.
Well,
We have a lot to talk about today. Again, my name is Sam Gonzalez, field representative for Assembly Member Keila Weber. It's nice to see you all this year, if you haven't seen me. The big updates we have right now is our office is launching a Women's Distinction Award nominee search. So if you know anyone who is a woman and falls into the categories of helping or working in the community of health sciences, arts, schools, feel free to send them to our office for any information on how to get the nomination process started. The second big news we have is that our office is launching and expecting applications to arrive this March 1st for our Youth Legislators Program. This is a program tailored for sophomores and juniors in high school who are interested in developing public service skills, working with legislation. At the end of this program, they'll have an opportunity to submit their bill idea to our legislator. I have a couple applications here, so I'll leave them here or wherever.
Yep.
So if you have a child or you know someone who might be interested, go ahead and give them this packet. Again, the deadline is this March 1st, so they have about 2 weeks or so to fill it out. Any questions?
Sam, do you have an electronic version of that?
I do, yeah, sorry, I
If you could
did,
forward it, I'll put it on
Absolutely.
our social media.
great idea, and I
Yep.
do have your email, so I'll send
Yep.
that to you.
All right, thanks very much. That would be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Did I miss anybody else?
No,
Okay.
everybody.
I keep looking up at the screen. I forgot to look out in the crowd. Okay, so as I was saying, we have City Council President Sean Elo Rivera, who's going to take Roberto's place for speaking and doing the announcements. And then after that, we'll move on to our action items for voting for a new treasurer and voting to establish associate groups and our priorities.
Thank you, Sam.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Sean Eagle Rivera. I'm your city council member. Glad to be here today. Apologies for being late. Council was long today. Just a couple updates. One was, as you know, Rolando Park was hit hard. The Village Green Apartments, all 57 bottom units there were more or less destroyed. Those folks were displaced and are currently living either in hotels or finding a place to stay with family. We are working to make sure that there is no gap between the hotels they've been provided from their housing provider, from their property management company, and the county program is getting established. Working really hard to ensure that no one falls through the cracks there. The scale of the devastation is significant. We have probably somewhere in the range, and I say probably because we don't have exact numbers still, somewhere in the range of 800 households that have been displaced that are currently in hotels. And that number is going up as more and more homes it becomes apparent to the folks who are living in those homes that their homes are uninhabitable. I don't think we've crested quite yet in terms of the folks who are needing housing support. It really is a disaster that hit communities here in San Diego that, quite frankly, had already been underserved and underinvested in for a long, long time. And with folks who were working hard but still didn't have a lot in terms of ability to absorb that sort of loss, and no fault of their own. Right? Just so you know, on the kind of stormwater side of things, we continue to make requests, and some of the dredging and clearing of those channels has happened, but we need to make sure more of that happens. The fact remains that our stormwater system has been perpetually underfunded for generations now, and it's going to take a while before we have a stormwater system that the city should have, especially as we come to expect more and more drastic weather events. So keep those folks in your mind, in your heart, and if you have the ability to provide some support, please do. We're working really hard on our end, but there's still a lot of need, but it's tough. It's really tough right now. I wanted to start there. A couple of other things we're going to be prioritizing this year that I think are important. One is with respect to traffic safety, traffic calming. We've heard, so District 9 is the most diverse city council district in San Diego. And when I say diverse, I mean that in every way you can picture diversity. Income, religion, and race, you name it. And types of neighborhood, single family homes, multiple things, et cetera. But universal across our very diverse district is the desire to feel safe when you're walking, when you're driving, when you're riding a bike, when you're rolling in a wheelchair, when you're pushing a stroller down the sidewalk, across the street. Folks want to feel safe. They want traffic calmed, and they have a variety of different ways that they think that should happen. Some people are committed to speed bumps, other people want stop signs and stop lights. I'm agnostic to the tools, but I am completely on board with the goal. And so what I've also found is that it's way too hard for a neighborhood to say, we slow the cars down in my neighborhood. It shouldn't be that hard. What we see is time and time again, you all make the request to us, and we have to start with a study. If the study doesn't say what you all can see with your eyes, we have to ask for another study. If they do that at the wrong time, we have to do it again. And it's this perpetual game until we get the data that you all know exists. And then we can finally put in the request. We take a half measure. It shouldn't be that hard. So what we're working on this year is changes to the policy to make it easier for all of us in every neighborhood across the city, especially in the district, to make it safer in their neighborhoods in terms of traffic safety. The first piece of that puzzle is a survey that Roberto can share with the group. We're asking everyone in all neighborhoods to fill that out, because that'll give us a sense of the vision that folks have and where we're trying to go. That part is super, super important. It's very unlikely that 155,000 people plus that live in this district all have the same exact idea for how to solve this problem. But it is very likely that we are trying to arrive somewhere in the same vicinity of what we're looking for, which is safe streets. Start with that vision, and then we start to take steps towards achieving it. I've seen that work in my work prior to being on council as an organizer, and I firmly believe that we can do that when it comes to traffic safety in the city. That is a top priority. The second thing that I wanted to make note of, something on a more positive side, I heard the concerns about the delayed responses to calls, to report crimes, to respond to other city issues. That is largely a result of the city being way understaffed for a very long time. We had vacancy rates 30 to 40% in various city departments. And the reason we had that is because for a long time, the city of San Diego was a bad place to work. Flat out a bad place to work. Our city employees told us that every time that they were surveyed, but not a lot was done to address that. For the last couple of years, we've made some significant changes to try to make San Diego a better place to work. And the result of that has been vacancy rates going down, retention going up, and employee satisfaction going up. which correlates with that retention. And this is how bad of a place San Diego was to work. For the first time ever, the most recent survey of city employees had a majority of city employees recommending San Diego as a place for folks to work. First time that a majority of our employees said that. And granted, it was like 51%, so not exactly acing the test, but it's better than less than half. And it shows a trend in the right direction. So I think that's an important note, because whether it's streetlights that you want repaired or emergency calls that you want answered, all of that requires city workers. And something that just simply did not happen enough in the years past was honoring the work of city workers, of all city workers. That goes from police officers to firefighters to our librarians to the folks who are picking up your trash. City workers are disrespected, they weren't paid well enough, their retirements were too slim, and they often chose to work elsewhere as a result of that. So we've worked hard to change the trajectory there, seeing some positive changes. And I am optimistic that with that and some other changes, we'll start to see more of the city work done that you all want to get done. It's probably longer than I was supposed to go. Sorry for that.
No worries.
Happy to answer questions if you have some.
Okay, we got 5 minutes for questions because we want to try to get all our agenda items in. So I'm gonna do a hard stop at 5 minutes, okay? But yeah, I see David.
Yeah, I got a question. They was telling us that we're doing some underground and Southern District and other streets in our Rolando Park. And we have problems with speeding on Aragon. Now, I can't even imagine when those streets get shut down, what's Aragon gonna look like when that project and that work starts. It's gonna push everybody on our street, all of that, and they do all that. And I do respect you saying that we see a lot of it. I live right there, and Lynn lives right there. And they're all, I mean, they're going 50, 55 miles an hour. And I'm about ready to put my own speed bump on it. We've heard from the.
I hear that.
That they can't put it in there because it's too close to the convalescent home and they hear too much of a slope. That's bullshit. What's better for a community? Slow traffic and not getting those kids that live right next door to me get hit by a car. And I've been here for how long? 25 years. And I see it on a daily basis.
So that's actually a perfect example of why we want to change this policy, right? Two things. One, you don't need a study. The neighborhood doesn't need a study. Yeah. But your eyes with a study, right? You and your neighbor's eyes.
No, the city come out and put the little tubes out there, without the traffic going through. But they come out at the wrong time.
Right, no, that's what I mean, right? So there's too many hurdles. And I don't know, I'm not an engineer, okay? What I hear is the goal there is slower traffic. And my assumption is it's more than a speed bump, you want slower cars. And your assumption is that a speed bump will help achieve that.
I think so.
Probably, but I don't know that for sure. So rather than get stuck on the speed bump, what I think we need to do is really unify around the demand for slower traffic, right? And that can come through design and enforcement to a certain extent. The design part is critical. We know that the best way to slow cars down is through street design, and street design can be speed bumps, and it can be a variety of other tools as well. But what needs to be 100% clear is the neighborhood wants slower traffic. They want safer traffic. And so that desire to see traffic slowed on your street so that the kids that live on your street aren't in danger, so that seniors when they're walking aren't in danger, that is what we need to unify around. You're not going to hear me demand the speed bump because I think there's going to be more hurdles to getting that specific thing implemented than the general demand to slow traffic. Okay. So I'm there with you at the goal.
I don't get to lose my 5 minutes. We have police there. Right then, parked in the corner.
Yep.
Staying there at the wrong time. We had to get the tube going across. And it just had to work. I'm gonna get away with it. I mean, I'm the one who's homeless and I'm seeing it coming to our neighbors. I mean, I see it. So I want to know what your solution is when you've got shelters in San Diego. When you talk to all the homeless people, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And they go to shelter. What do you do for the homeless that don't want to go?
Yeah.
because they're standing in the street screaming and talking to each other. What do we do with those people?
So a couple of things there. You are probably noticing an increased presence of
Yeah.
people experiencing homelessness in your neighborhood. I know it was controversial. I know there was folks in this room who strongly advocated. Is everyone here okay being recorded? Because we got a camera.
It's- It's always on the agenda that.
One
it's
thing for them to
recorded.
do it, a little different when someone just pulls out a camera. Want to make sure.
Public place.
Okay, moving on.
One of my concerns, I had three reasons why I voted against the encampment ban. First was I thought it was constitutionally suspect as to whether or not it will be upheld in court. The second was that I don't think that the system has the shelter capacity to absorb the folks who would be offered shelter. And we heard zero folks with expertise, specifically in the field of homelessness, say that that was a tool that we should use to reduce homelessness in San Diego. In fact, some people, like such as those who work with seniors, said it's actually going to make it more difficult for us. I'm going to use an example of some seniors who could not utilize the shelter that is offered because of physical disabilities that they have, stay very close to the Serving Seniors organization downtown. And they're now not going to be able to stay as close to the services that they seek on a day-to-day basis. And they can't go into a congregate shelter for a variety of reasons. So there was that practical reason. And the third was, in my experience, both as a city council member for District 9 and as a resident of District 9 for a long time, I had a very sneaking suspicion that when that law became put on the books, that folks were going to be pushed out of downtown and right here. And why did I think that? Because the first time I ever canvassed for office, which was for a community college position in 2018, I just was knocking on doors in the Rolando neighborhood or Rolando Park, saying, what are your priorities? People were noticing then that there was suddenly a lot more folks experiencing homelessness showing up in their neighborhood. And that correlated with that had happened downtown in advance of some of the events that were a high priority in the downtown community. I have not seen uniform and equitable application of laws and allocation of resources in this city. And what I was not okay with was saying yes to a constitutionally suspect law that was not being supported by the experts, and that I thought was going to have a disproportionately negative impact on my district. So that's the answer to why I said no to that and why I think we're seeing an uptick in District 9. What do we do about that? We continue to try to offer the services that folks need, right? And that means a combination of different types of shelter beds, of services for folks who are experiencing mental health issues and substance abuse issues. And there's going to be something on the ballot just next month in March, Proposition 1, which would substantially increase the amount of funding for mental health resources for people experiencing homelessness. I think that's an important step. There's no silver bullet to this. We went way too long not addressing this issue in a meaningful way. And because of that, we have a huge hole to dig ourselves out of. And that hole is not just, something that costs us a lot of money or we have to spend a lot of time on. The humanitarian crisis that has huge impacts on your neighborhoods. I understand that your health and your safety are at risk as well. So something I think about every day. I cannot tell you how much it bothers me. We put a ton of energy and thought into it. Last thing, prevention is key. We know that while folks' mental health and their likelihood of becoming addicted to drugs or alcohol increases when they're on the streets, the number one cause of people entering into homelessness are economic reasons. That with a bit of financial support, folks can stay off the street. So City Council, we put forward an initiative a couple of years ago, and it's starting to gain some traction. It's called a Housing Instability Prevention Fund. It's a small subsidy for seniors, for families with children, people with disabilities. Give them enough to make sure that they stay off the streets, right? So it's folks on fixed incomes, folks who are just getting by or who are at risk of homelessness. Provide them not just some money, but also additional support such as trying to find a housing situation that might be more appropriate for the income level. Those programs work, we just need to invest in them even more.
So, all right, so if there's any other questions, I'm sure you can send it to their offices. Or if you're here, maybe talk to them after the meeting, or I don't know how long they're gonna be here, but any other questions, maybe you could talk to them off to the side. But thank you very much for all the representatives who come and spoke to us today. And we're gonna move on to our next agenda item. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right, so first thing I want to address, we're gonna address is voting for our new treasurer.
So, I did it again, didn't I? Yep, sorry. David, does David have his hand up? Went to the wrong screen again. There we go. Yep, okay. Right, hang on, folks, what happened?
Go to the treasurer.
Okay.
There we go.
All right,
Thanks.
treasurer
So,
time.
actually, I just wanted to say, as I mentioned earlier, Debbie Blake has volunteered to step up and be the treasurer again. A lot of us know Debbie. She's been on the board several times. Because we have hybrid meetings, we're going to be putting this on our voting form for our priorities tonight. So if you're Rolando Park Community Council members, you'll get an email and it'll have a link to the voting form, okay? And we're going to do the same. The next item that we want to talk about is a different level of membership. And this is for a little bit for Redwood Village. Rolando Park is a nonprofit. We're incorporated. Our boundaries are set in our membership rules, and our bylaws are set by our boundaries. So we work jointly though with Redwood Village, and we want to make sure we have a relationship that continues and works for all of us. Other community councils in San Diego have different levels of membership. They might have a business membership, we don't. But they also have associate memberships where they open up memberships to people who don't live in the community. And so what we're proposing is we'd like to change our bylaws just enough to have associate memberships for our Redwood Village people. They get all the same rights and privileges as being a Rolando Park Community Council member, except they cannot vote on things that pertain specifically to Rolando Park. So when we start,
Get a newsletter too?
yes, if we had a newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah. What tonight, the way this will work, because we're going to be talking about priorities for both communities. So we're going to keep track of them, Rolando Park, Redwood Village. Sometimes we share common issues, priorities. One of them has been cleanups. So those things will appear on ballots for both communities. So if you're a Redwood Village member, you'll get a different ballot than Rolando Park. And next month when we meet up, we'll talk and see where we're at for both communities. Okay. So real quick, I just wanted to back up and go back to our priorities from last year. We ended up with 6, and because we don't get a lot of volunteers, we really felt we had the bandwidth to tackle just the top 3. And that we would look at the last 3 if we had time, which truly we didn't expect that we would. And surprise to me, people stepped up a little bit. We started doing cleanups and people started paying attention. So we spent some time on Streamview. It's a long-standing program over there. It's almost like a cultural kind of indifference to the dumping issue. I know that someone shared a picture with us over the weekend where someone asked buy stuff in San Diego, free stuff in San Diego, where she could dump her mattress. Did you know when the schedule for Streamview pickup was? That is pretty much not acceptable. So Right to the source. I know. So we're talking with the other people that are involved in this, besides Redwood Village, Streamview borders Oak Park. And it's a big issue for them too. So we'll talk about it more, but we're trying to get the environmental services to at least put in illegal dumping signs and then try and get code enforcement to help. Because I don't think this problem can be solved. We could do a cleanup every day. We're not going to solve the problem if we don't have enforcement for consequences. It's just not going to happen, but we'll talk about that. So number 5 was Xena Canyon improvements. We did 2 cleanups. Normally we do 1. We did 2 this year. I thought that was pretty good. We had a discussion in September about a path forward for Xena Canyon, where the school district told us that they would be interested in a joint use agreement with the city, where they would manage the park as open space. That discussion, unfortunately, the city wasn't interested because the problem with Xena Canyon, it's not connected to other canyons. It doesn't fit the city's model where canyons are connected like in City Heights. Most canyons are connected there. But they are interested a little bit, we think, in purchasing Xena Canyon as open space because they have a commitment to buy 100 acres of land over the next few years to improve the amount of park space in this area. So groundwork has been mediating on our half. They submitted a proposal to the city at the end of the year as a capital improvement project, and it's one of their 5 priorities for this year is for the city to purchase Xena Canyon. This would be a big plus for us in terms of we probably would have rangers there. It would be 14 acres of open space, but we would treat it like other canyons where we might get someone like Canyonlands to help us replant and get rid of the invasive plants there. And just have people using the canyon the way it should be used as a hiking and walking area.
As it used to be used. A lot of people
used to
go down
be.
there and walk their dogs and all that, and it just kind of
We can't do that
transition.
now.
So we're hoping to transition it back.
So the last of those 3 that we weren't going to pursue is a big shout out to Jennifer Bennett again, because Jennifer actually contacted me a few months ago and applied for a grant from the Previs Foundation to paint a mural on the underpass. It's been an interest to do something with that underpass, and you know, Jennifer's an artist. She wants to bring a little art down here. We're okay with that. So she didn't get the grant, doesn't matter. At least she tried, and that's a plus for us. So we like that. Thanks very much. Okay. So on to one of the top 3 that we worked on this year, and everyone knows the Pocket Park. It's now the Rolando Park Gateway project, because that sounds way better, right? And again, we're involved. Groundwork has been working with us. We had a landscape designer here in October. She did a preliminary design for that space. That design everyone approved the design, approved the monument sign concept. So Groundwork had their landscape architect, Vicki Estrada, if anyone knows Vicki, she's a landscape architect, one of the founders of the Choyas Creek Coalition. She did the site drawings for us for free, and they were submitted to the city at the end of the year. We're waiting to hear from the city, and then Groundwork will help us start to identify some funding sources. So we will get this planted. We're gonna, some of the trees and stuff, I just want to show you, there's been a few changes since we saw it in October. And one of them does not disappoint me at all, because I dislike those palm trees there. And the original landscape designer was all in favor of keeping them because they're native palm trees. But Vicki Estrada, who works a lot with the city, said that the problem with those is bird movement. They will carry palm pods and distribute them. Canyonlands, I know, just cleaned out a canyon that had more than 300 invasive palm trees. And they had to use a helicopter to come in and knock them down. So I'm okay with losing them. I hope everybody else is okay with it, because they're going to be replacing there's a dead or diseased mulberry tree there on the corner. And the palm trees will come out, and those will all be replaced with live oak and American sycamore. So a few different plants again. And this is out on our website, so feel free to go out and look at this project. And we'll keep you updated with some of. I also wanted to just add, this is sort of a serendipitous kind of moment. I think most of you know that I said I took this picture. This actual monument sign is the sign at Choya's Park. At the north entrance, and I photoshopped our logo in. And as it would turn out, this is the one that everybody loved. I thought, oh, everyone will love the rock or something. Everyone loved this one. Well, Vicky Estrada turns out to be the designer for that monument sign. So yeah, I tried to tell her that imitation is very sincere flattery. And it won't look quite like this. It will be somewhat different. I'll be talking with Mr. Castro about that. No. Yes. We have some other ideas. So one of the top priorities last year, everyone wanted to see more cleanups in our community. We did 8. 7 of them were joint with Redwood Village. We did 4 on University, 2 in Rolando Park, 2 in Redwood Village. We cleaned Xena Canyon twice. We cleaned Streamview once. And we cleaned the joint use park just in time for the movie in the park event. And the best news for me, we had more than 45 people step up and volunteer. That's sort of unheard of. We just don't get that many volunteers in this community. So we had at least 10 to 15 people show up for almost every cleanup we did. So that's fabulous.
We need the help.
Well, we need the help. So the last one, and I'm sorry to say, this has been the #1 priority in this community since 2017. And that is trying to do something about speeding and moving violations, which I find this hard to believe are getting even worse, if that's possible, since the pandemic. Yes.
Has anyone done the extra traffic patrol requests? Because they go directly to traffic and traffic from Sears work. Those.
I emailed that list out to everybody.
Because I don't see them, they go
Yeah.
to traffic. So I'm just double checking because if those are getting done and no one's coming this way, what time is the right time?
Would this be like a pickup truck with a Sandy police logo?
That's in the traffic. They're always on, typically motors. You're gonna be on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have no run traffic.
Okay, so let's finish and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's finish it. That's okay. Excuse me. We finish up. Sorry. Yeah, after, thanks. So we did 2 traffic studies based on a dialogue that we had last May. And one of them was for the frontage road, we call it Little College, between Billman and Jeff Street. That street is 19 feet wide. And the discussion was to convert it to a one-way, just like the other section of Little College between Meridian and College Grove. That one, for whatever reason, everyone wanted it. The one on between Billman and Jeff was a hard sell. And I sort of get it because people in the middle would have to go, it's one way headed north. In the middle of the block, they would have to go down to almost University, cross 3 lanes, get in the left lane, make a U-turn and come back up. And it just didn't fly. We had 25, there's 25 homes there and we could only get 15. You need 75% of the people to sign on and we just couldn't get there. So sorry to say that one didn't happen. We also looked at Livingston again. Periodically this comes up about whether Livingston should be closed or converted to a one-way street. This time, traffic engineering said they didn't want to close it because it would impact traffic on College Grove and Billman. And it's really hard to believe that that's going to spill over, but what we did see is a 400% increase in traffic in 5 years on Livingston. We went from about 500 cars daily to over 2,000 cars a day. That's just.
Yeah, we were saying, I mean, if it's not gonna be closed, maybe one way.
Yeah.
to at least
So the
cut
one
that
way would
down.
be
So
when you get
instead
off
of,
to exit
so instead of coming
College
into the
94, that's the street right there.
Yeah.
street right next to the
That would
freeway,
be one way going in.
no, we were wanting one way only coming.
Going out.
I've never seen a car come out there. I've
Oh,
only
I
seen 'em
have.
Going in.
Oh, yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen them come out, but that's the
Yeah,
point.
that's
You just saw
crazy.
more people go. It
Yeah.
keeps people from using that as a shortcut, right? If it's, they can only come out, it's fewer people. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we tried.
We tried, there's a bigger issue there now because, city did not put in an ADA ramp there at the corner. And last year Caltrans decided to put in an ADA ramp across the off-ramp there. And that off-ramp goes to nowhere. You get to Livingston and you have to turn around and go back the other way because you would be stepping out into the street. You would have to go down to Nassau, cross over and come up around. So we're waiting to see if the city's going to fix that problem. That's a big problem. I want to thank Lionel one more time because there's a no turn on red sign that was installed on the east side of the College Grove and College intersection. Thanks to Lionel pulling that out, pointing that out, and that went to traffic engineering and they agreed right away. So I see they've mounted a second sign now. So you see it when you come up to the intersection. You're driving west, and then you can also see it beyond that on the big light in the middle of the street. We're waiting for a speed evaluation for the 38 and 3900 blocks of Loma Alta and Aragon. That request was actually put in October. The city came out in December, and we gently had to remind traffic engineering that they are not going to do traffic studies when San Diego State and the elementary school are not in session.
Yeah.
Because we know that the volume is a lot different when school's not in session. So they're not going to be back now. We hope maybe this month. It's going to depend on how much it rains. There's also a traffic study in progress right now on 69th between Celia Vista and University. A gentleman came here in November and made a complaint. So we put that in for him. There's a traffic study at Celia Vista in the Bing intersection, which has a blind spot. It's an uncontrolled intersection. They think they will put a stop sign in on Bing and paint the curb red to avoid the blind spot. On another good news, another person who was here at that November meeting wanted to apply for a stop sign on Donna Avenue and Donna Way as you come in from 69th Street. And that was approved about 3 weeks ago. It'll be in sometime in the next 90 days. Yeah. So last, I just wanted to mention and thank everyone who showed up last month for the walk audit that we did with Circulate San Diego.
How'd that go?
Well, I've got a little map here for a little. Now, if you can see it all, what I would point out is that I myself am really focused on speeding and moving violations here to the point where we realize there's a lot more going on that's not safe for pedestrians here. And that number one thing is we don't have crosswalks in this community.
No, yeah, you're right. They're just stop sign, but it's not a crosswalk.
Yeah, we have crosswalks and Marlowe at Loma Alta and Vista Grande. There are no other crosswalks in the community. So that's definitely noted as something to look at. During the 1 hour walk that we were on, there were like 6 violations at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, either speeding or running stop signs. Pretty enlightening. And one of the other problems we see is we have corners. We don't have any storm drain panels on Vista Grande. And so right there in front of the school, we get puddles, the water pools, it's 10 feet out in the street. You're asking kids and parents to step 10 feet out in the street to get around it when there's cars going 35 miles an hour down the street. Not the least bit safe. So those are things, that report went to our city council office, Caltrans. I don't think it went to police department, I'm not sure. But those are things that we'll start looking at this year. I'm actually going to be asking other volunteers to help me map out the rest of the community because we focused on where we see the most traffic. But I know there are other places where we should have asked for crosswalks, more stop signs. So I will get, 2 people will get out and work on those issues. Okay. So that's everything from last year.
We also got some, those donations, and everything, that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it stops. My Friday route, and I usually finally get it done every Friday, so.
Move in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right, so then with all that, we're looking at, you know, everybody thinking about what you want to see accomplished within our means this year.
Or what,
So how are we, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it?
we'll just take comments. and
All right,
we'll write 'em up.
so anybody have any ideas of what they'd like to see? Similar to what we were discussing in our neighborhood, what changes? You may want to keep it on a level that we can handle as a community council, just to let you know. But whether it be traffic, or anything else you can think of that we haven't discussed.
Wait, I can't write it down. You're not going too fast for me.
Anybody?
Whatever happened to the Christmas decoration practice, or that you could go to the neighborhood? This did a lot of Christmas with decoration.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a
This
contest.
before my time,
Who
I
had the
guess.
best-
Before my time, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I do not remember that, okay.
But yeah, we did that,
And you say it's a suggestion
What is that?
to maybe
Holiday decoration.
do lights,
to promote a
holidays,
decorating contest
Decorate their
for
houses,
Christmas.
Okay.
lights.
Do we want it to be a contest?
Want it to be a contest?
I think it kind of was one
Okay.
a couple years ago.
All right.
Can't
put that
remember
out
that we've
there.
ever done it, but okay. Jennifer?
So
Can't hear
Jennifer,
you. You muted.
you can't hear, you
There
got
you
it?
go.
Right,
There
there
you
we go.
Oh, so if we were talking about traffic stuff in general,
Mhm.
just like the graffiti, and just like the dumping, I think having more enforcement some way of the existing laws would probably help with all those things. I know that the law enforcement is understaffed and all that kind of stuff, but I think that really what discourages people from driving really fast, running red lights, stop signs and all that kind of stuff is once in a while getting a ticket for it. And we've noticed,
Okay, there we go.
Sorry, we lost you for a second. We had a little blip.
Go ahead.
I'd say one of the things that I think encourages people to think twice about, you know, driving too fast or that kind of thing is having the possibility of getting a ticket. And that's how it used to be. It doesn't seem, I drive around a lot in this area and I see people completely running red lights all the time, like where I have to wait a few seconds before I go because I see people coming along at 50 miles an hour and they just blow the lights. We all see it. And I think what I mentioned before is I recognize that we're sort of underfunded on law enforcement, but it would definitely help to have some kind of law enforcement. The last thing I'll say is that Jennifer drives to her work is on the 125, and there are cops that hang out there on that stretch between the 8 and the 52, and they're there all the time. And people, man, they slow down in that section. If they don't, they get pinched, as my dad used to call it. So it does have an effect. I hope that there's some way that can be part of solutions for kind of out of control traffic stuff. Thanks for the time.
Okay, thanks, John.
Any other items anyone can think of that we should focus on?
Well, I thought before the pandemic, we did the PACE program, right? And they had a couple motorcycle cops out
Yeah, we did.
writing a lot of tickets, and then we got the stickers for the cars. and it just kind of faded away.
Well, we piloted that program for the San Diego Police Traffic Enforcement,
Yeah.
and it was for about 4 months. And we did give out stickers, magnets, car magnets, and asked residents to commit to driving the speed limit in the community.
Yeah,
What-
I mean,
yeah.
I still have a sticker on my facade. It
Or I have a
It's
box
faded
of
to
them.
black.
Yeah,
solid black. And then we did the signs. Mine
Ye-
kept falling
yeah.
over. But the kids designed it.
from
25
the
miles an
school,
hour.
yeah.
Kids-
Yeah, really, we need
That-
traffic, we need the traffic division involved in this. So I can
Yes.
liaison with them and see about getting the contact and maybe we can start some sort of initiative like that.
Okay,
When it comes to speed, they're the most equipped to deal with speed. Is they're running radar and all those things.
Mhm.
Patrol officers do not have radar in their cars and don't like radar. Because they predominantly there's no call for service and it's just. Sections and traffic is really the spearhead on that. Patrol officers can definitely address the stop sign issue, but outside of that, the speed it's gonna be a traffic enforcement, special detail. So,
Yeah.
I'll start that conversation. We see what we can do with that.
I think if we just had someone come around and deal with moving violations at stop signs, speeding would slow down along with that.
All right.
I have a quick one, but I don't know if it's really Redwood Village or Rolando, but the crossing of Choyas Parkway and University Avenue. I know there's a big project there that will do the bikeway and maybe the Choice Triangle at some point was talking about basically closing Choice Parkway at some point. I see is still that's one of my points of cringe, I guess, when you come on University and you go east and you see some folks taking their chances crossing University at the stop to go take basically a shortcut to go onto 54th. And I'm thinking at some point there's going to be a big gigantic accident there. But then the folks that come on Choice Parkway going east to join University, there's no definition of who has the right of way in terms of their lane or the folks coming on University. So there's always a game of chicken of who's actually going to give up that lane to go to the right or to the left. And I think somebody from traffic needs to go and take a look at that one day at traffic time and try to avoid the big accident before it happens. I know there was a few accidents there and some death, but it's probably time to accelerate some kind of action there.
I think if I could just jump in here, Jennifer and John, feel free to chime in. Choice Parkway is going to be closed down sometime this year because the Choice Triangle Park is going to be moving out of preliminary engineering into the design phase. And the project manager from the city said that when it moves to design, they will simultaneously close down Choice Parkway.
That would be great if we can confirm that.
Hey, Lynn, we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you. I'm sorry. Is that us?
It's everyone.
Can you guys hear us now online? Can someone give us a thumbs up? I know we were having audio problems here.
Speaker died. Sorry.
The battery.
There.
Battery died.
Now you can hear us? Okay. There you guys go.
So just to follow up on that, Nordine, Choyas Parkway should be closed sometime this year, and that will take care of the whole problem. You won't be able to cut through. they will have it fenced off because they'll be taking out the road. So,
Excellent.
Are you speaking, Nordine?
Nardine, you're muted.
You
again.
muted
You
yourself
said, you
again.
said thanks.
No,
Oh,
no, I
okay.
said thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I saw another hand up. I thought it was, did I see Tori or is that it? All right. So it looks like we have so far 2 items maybe to look at. So considering we only have 2, I guess we'll tackle those 2 items. Usually what we do is we have a certain number of them and then we can go vote for them, but considering we only have 2, that's what we'll work on.
Needs maintenance. I said the other stuff needs maintenance, so
Oh,
that we've been working on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe continue to, move forward with the other priorities that we've had in the past that we weren't able to, that we can still move forward with. We'll keep a tab on those. So we'll post these 2 and I guess that's it.
I think that's it.
All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up early today, only by a few minutes, but thank you, everybody. And we'll hope to see you next month. You guys have a good evening. Right?
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Bye-bye. Bye, Olivia. Thank you for coming.
Troy's Parkway North. Trying to figure out where this is.
I have 8 more.
Troy's Parkway.
Right off University. If you're driving west.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So, right,